Okay guys, so this is just a continuation of the previous video on constructing sinusoidal functions. I was trying to rush to finish it, so I made a mistake here. I put a 2 here instead of the pi that I found for the period. Okay, so let me put the correct answer here. It should be pi down here. And when you do that, these pi's cancel out. That's a pi canceling with that, so my b value is 2. Okay, that's my frequency. Sorry. There's a lot of lag going on right now. So let's write the function. F of x is equal to 6 cosine of 2x plus 4. Okay, that should be the correct answer. So let's go and check. 6 cosine of 2x plus 4. And it is. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the next question. Okay, in this next problem, we have the graph of a sinusoidal function. So in this problem, we have the graph of a sinusoidal function that intersects its midline at 0, -7, and then has a minimum point at pi over 4, -9. So if you look at this problem, it gives you the midline on the y-axis, 0, -7. So it starts at the midline. We automatically know this has to be sine, because sine starts at the midline on the y-axis. But then instead of going up to the maximum point, this function will go down to the minimum point. So when it starts at the midline and goes down instead of going up, we know that this has to be a negative sign, not a positive sign. Okay, so as I said, since it starts at the midline on the y-axis and then goes down to the minimum instead of going up to the maximum, this has to be a negative sign. And they want us to find the formula. 0, -7. So let's do it. This is going to be, all right, let me erase all this. Let's get a new board going. All right, so here we go. Let's do green this time. So we have 0, -7 for the midline. So the midline is 0, -7. And now it goes from midline to minimum. Okay. So therefore this is pi over 4, -9. Pi over 4 and -9. Okay. So again, let's find the formula. Again, our formula is going to be in the format f of x is equal to the amplitude, and in this case, it's going to be sine, right? But as we said, it goes from midline to min, so we need a negative sign in the front, correct? And then, of course, our frequency times x, and then, of course, our midline. Okay, so that's going to be in the format. So first thing, again, amplitude, the distance from the midline to the min or midline to the max. So it starts at -7 and goes down to -2. Therefore, we know that the amplitude has to be -7 minus -9, right? So this becomes plus plus. Therefore, the amplitude is 2. Okay, there's our amplitude. Now, midline, we already have. We have the C value. They give it to us. It's at -7. Okay, and now we have to find the B value, the frequency. Again, to find the B value, which is the frequency, we take 2 pi over the period. And let's find the period. Again, they give us midline to min, so we know that's got to be a quarter of the entire period. So it goes from 0 to pi over 4. So if we take period, which is, again, the distance from 0 to pi over 4 is pi over 4, and then we multiply that by 4. The 4's cancel out, so my period is pi. So if I take now the period and I plug it in here, so b is equal to 2 pi over pi. The pi's will cancel, leaving me with 2. And there, folks, is my frequency. So now let's write the function. So f of x is equal to, and again, it's negative because it's going from midline to minimum, right? It goes down, not up. So midline to minimum, so negative, and a is 2. It's my amplitude, times sine of my frequency, which I just found, is 2x, and then my midline. My midline is at -7, so it's -7. And here's my function. Okay. So let's write that in. -2 sine of 2x minus 7. Okay, it's -2 sine of 2x minus 7. Okay, that is correct. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, here we have a problem that tells us graph goes from the maximum point and then intersects the midline at 3, 3. So it starts at the max on the y-axis, because the y-axis always has 0 for the x-coordinate. So this function starts on the y-axis at the max and then goes down to the midline. So we know, therefore, that this has to be cosine, right? Cosine starts at the max or the min and then goes to the midline. So this is cosine. Okay. So let's take the points again. Let's start with a fresh board. Delete. Okay, new board. And good. Let's put in our information. Okay, we'll work on purple this time. Okay. So max point is at 0, 7. Max point. It's the max. At 0, 7. Oops. 0, 7. Oh boy. Too much lag. Very laggy right now. And our midline is at 3, 3. Okay. Starts at the max, goes down to the min, therefore we know it's cosine. So we're going to need a function that has this format: amplitude, cosine, times frequency, b of x, and then of course our midline, c. All right, again, so amplitude, okay, difference in the y values here from max to mid, max to midline. So it looks like it's going to be 4, right? So 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. So there's our A value, our amplitude. Okay. Next, we need our midline. Well, that's the easiest. We just read it right off because we're given the midline. The midline is 3. That's the y coordinate. Correct. And now let's find, sorry, that was C. So let me erase that. Okay, that was C. Okay, that was C. And then, of course, our, what just happened here? Cosine of bx. Okay, and now let's find our period in order to find our frequency. So frequency is, again, 2 pi over the period. That's 2. That is a 2. And so our period, again, max to mid is 1/4. So 0 to 3 is 1/4. So the difference of 0 to 3 is 3. So multiply that by 4. Our period is 12. So therefore, our frequency is 2 pi over 12. And if we cancel the 2 and the 12, 2 goes into 12 6 times. So it's pi over 6. Okay, and that is our frequency. So let's put all three values in and write our function. So f of x is equal to 4 cosine of pi over 6 x, and then plus 3, right? It's our midline. And that is our function. Okay, let's type that in. 4 cos pi over 6 x plus 3. 4 cos pi over 6 x, and then I believe it's plus 3, right? Plus 3. So quick check. Yes, it is. And there it is. Okay, folks? All right, take care.